Welcome back to part 2 of episode 3 of the These 5 Walls podcast. In part 2, the group and our special guest reflect on how they deal with stress and anxiety at work and college. Offering some insights and useful metaphors, the group look back at how they have overcome challenges that we hope will connect with you, the listener, and offer some support and comfort in these common areas we all face. Thank you again for listening to this episode, and we hope you find it useful.
So another thing we wanted to talk about was exam stress.
And stress in general.
I just want to say with exam stress that I understand and I know how much pressure is put on people when it comes down to their exams. And I just wanted to say, your GCSEs do not mean jack. You can be successful without them. Try your best. If you get using all of them, oh well, you just have to redo maths and English and do a level 1 course instead of a level 2 course like in college.
Like I did.
Does it
Charlotte's
That's the
living
message
proof.
Johnny, though, the amount of pressure that is put on young people in exams
It
for
is
no
ridiculous.
reason whatsoever.
Students put enough pressure on themselves, and that's what frustrated me most about my exams. I was stressing myself out, pressuring myself because I wanted to do well.
You're getting pressured over a piece of paper with a couple letters on it telling you
A numbers now.
Oh, is it
I
numbers
feel like
now?
sometimes it's really difficult to take that pressure off yourself when there's a goal at the end of it. So for my A levels, I needed to get a certain grade to go to uni, and actually that was the pressure on me. I was like, ugh, if I don't so I can completely understand that it's actually not as easy as just being
okay, it's fine.
okay, I don't want to put pressure on it because some people see success and that's what they want in life, but there are other routes, and I think that's the part that people forget. You can try again, you can do it over, it doesn't have to be the be all end all. You're only 16 to 18, you're so young, you've got your whole life to find what you want to do, try to do it. So I think that's my most important information.
How I see it, I got C's in all my exams, didn't get a maths GCSE.
So you didn't get C's in all your
well,
exams?
apart from maths doesn't count. Who the fuck wants maths? No one.
True. Maths is a little bit important.
Not really.
Got maths in
I qualified level 1, level 2 and level 3 on my course, which is in doing cars. Didn't do health and social care, didn't do psychology or nothing, and now I'm a mental health support worker.
It literally just shows you can the paths are just endless, really, if you think about it.
You can do whatever you want. Obviously if you want to be a neurosurgeon, you can't just work on cars all your life and then do that. But for a lot of things, it's just not one straightforward path. And
Can I ask a question? So, you're quite a philosophical view on exams and stress around exams now, because you've been through it and you've kind of got yourself into done this, got a job, I'm doing alright. If you were listening to this as a 16-year-old or whatever age you've kind of taken exams, would you kind of go a bit like what you were saying, Lucy, about but it's
that's why I said what I said.
It'd be hard to listen to.
What the fuck are they on about?
I'd be listening to this thinking, fucking bollocks. You're just all the other people that are GCSEs aren't that bad.
And your stress is valid. Just because we're saying all this doesn't mean you can't feel stressed about it. It's just know that everyone goes through the same stress. And if loads of people come out the other end, fine.
Yeah.
We're all
sorry, I keep interrupting.
thriving. That's okay. Now you can go.
If you come out with good GCSE results, bad GCSE results, you're still there. GCSEs were freaking traumatic as heck, but I'm still here to tell the tale, and every day I'd be I'm not gonna see the end of the year, I'm not gonna make it. But I took myself one day at a time. I think I'd get to the end of the day, and then I've made it for another one, and that's still something that I do now. But sort of just try and take your eyes off of the end goal, because I think that's sometimes what can give you more stress. But if you just think, I'm going to make it to the end of today, and maybe I won't revise today, but
that's an achievement. I think people forget to look at the positives of the fact that you're actually you're going and you're trying, and that's well done, that's amazing.
Every little thing that you're doing, even if you make it into school, that's an achievement. Absolutely. For me it was anyway. I used to get dragged into school, but I still lasted the day, and I focused on that rather than the things I wasn't doing. Oh, something that I used, it's called This Works, and it's like it's herbal, like this lavender stuff, and you roll it on your pressure points, like your pulse points, and breathe deeply. And it sounds like when you're panicking, it's like, oh, I can't breathe deeply, but this honestly, like, it helps you get your breathing back in the right place. This works, and it does work. And there's like a sleep spray as well that works. I used to use that before, otherwise I'd be up all night worrying.
So I think to round that up,
well, I was just going to say, like,
no,
stress in the work, stress in college, uni. Peter, I was just kind of curious to know how the stresses that are on your shoulders daily, like the decisions you have to make, are quite massive. How do you kind of end up going home and just switching off, or dealing with the stress in general, I suppose?
As I said earlier, I do tend to be able to switch off quite easily, and I just thought that was normal until somebody said to me one day that it was me that wasn't normal when I was trying to tell them to stop it, basically. Stop worrying about things you can't control. And he just turned around to me and said, you realise it's you that's not normal, not me. And so until that point I hadn't really appreciated that I didn't let things really get to me, and so I can be quite good at what I can control and what I can't control in a work sense. And yes, I don't know how. I don't know what. I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know how that happens.
I think keeping hold of the thought that you can't control everything. As people said that to me before, and I was like, shut up. Like,
I know I can't control it.
I know I can't control it, but I'm still worried about it.
I can't control the fact that I'm worried about it.
But just try and like sort of compartmentalise it, sort of break it down to the things that you absolutely can't control.
And like write it down.
Yeah.
Like,
and visualise it and think, how can I make these stresses easier for myself? So like if you've had a particularly rough day at work, you go home and you talk to your wife and say, this has happened at work, it sucked, but there's nothing you can necessarily do to change it at that point, but you've shared it.
For me, I feel like in terms of work, like if I then went home and I talked to someone at home about what's happened at work, I'm taking that home with me. So like then I would be leaving it at home, when really I feel like talking to a colleague or your manager, like, you know, someone who's at work, really literally then you can literally leave it at work, and then when you get home. And I think like for me, like in the past year that I've worked like for the NHS, that's the one thing I've learned.
I think there's also an issue about not thinking you have to solve everything now. And it's a bit like your thing with exams, and you get through today's exam and that's a success. Don't worry about tomorrow's until you've got through today's. And too many people are probably trying to solve everything now. They've got to solve it all today because there's a problem. But if you can solve part of it and let some time go, it will change and it will feel more manageable rather than trying to do it all at once. So I think there is something about that. Often people want to solve problems instantly and have a perfect solution, and there's not many perfect solutions.
Is that a skill that you've always thought, frame, process that you've always had?
Probably not. But I guess I don't know. I don't know how. I guess there's some experience about that. I guess and how, and I've got frustrated before with people who want. So you're having a conversation with someone about trying to solve a problem, and you're talking about some things that will make it better, but don't solve it. But they don't want to do that because they want to solve it.
Oh, I know those people.
But that's ridiculous. But so you won't do this, which will make it a bit better. You'd rather do nothing and keep it as it is because you can't get to the perfect solution. And I think, so I guess I just sort of learnt to try and break things down like that. And better is better. Doesn't have to be perfect. And
when you've got a meal in front of you, you don't eat the whole thing all at once.
No.
You have mouthfuls, and you chew those mouthfuls and swallow those mouthfuls, and then that mouthful's done. Do you know what I mean? Like it's sort of the same in day-to-day life. Like you can't solve everything at once, like you were saying.
Exactly.
So you have a little mouthful of it, chew that mouthful, deal with that mouthful, get it gone, and then you can deal with the next one. Otherwise, if you stuff your face, you're gonna choke.
It's a nice way of looking at it, yeah. So what You got some questions for us, Jazz?
I have got some fun questions.
This is the bit I've been dreading, these questions.
Pick like the good ones out of my selection.
How many you got?
I've got 3 today.
Oh, okay.
So my first question: what did you think was cool when you were younger, but isn't cool now?
Oh, too many things.
Driving.
Shell suits. Remember them?
Yes.
Yes. I had an England one.
I think they're
Did you?
cool. That's not so cool. But
Yeah.
certain shell suits.
It was
like-
cool in the
ruined it.
90s. Everyone had one.
Yeah.
My friend,
I mean,
my friend had
owned
a white
Chelsea.
coat,
Yeah.
a white
Very
jacket,
seen.
and I was really jealous of him in this white coat, but it wouldn't be cool now. It really wouldn't be cool now.
High tops. I used to think high tops were well cool as shoes, and now
Oh
if I put one on my
my
feet, I'd be
gosh.
like,
You gotta like spend hours lacing them up.
I've just
Yeah.
realised,
me.
but I used to wear these high tops that were black,
Classic.
bright pink, bright blue, and bright green.
They I
were
think I had those
horrific.
high tops also.
Nike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had
there we
Pineapple
go.
Dance Studio high tops.
I used
Yeah,
to
those
wear
are the, like,
Hannah Montana
OGs.
cowboy boots.
I used to wear
Same,
them.
well, that's the best thing.
And the Hannah Montana
literally-
denim skirts.
I literally wore them until they had holes in the bottom and stones were going inside of them.
I used to think driving was really cool
And I just
when
gave
I was
up
little.
on it.
Like, I used to like think like, oh, driving! I can't wait to get a driving license when I'm older and then can have a nice car like Mummy has. And now I would do anything to have someone drive me everywhere. I hate driving. It's money. Blah, hate it. Driving's not cool.
Do you know what I thought?
I disagree with that. I wouldn't say it's cool, but I think it's very liberating and very, like, you'd find yourself stuffed without it.
But I'd rather have someone drive me around everywhere.
Well, yeah, I'd rather have
When I was
someone
little, I
like,
thought it'd be really cool to have a car.
I'd just rather someone pay for my fuel and pay for my insurance
Yeah.
and like pay
Yeah.
my dad back. And I can drive, and then I'm fine.
So, in conclusion, driving, Chelsea,
and white coats.
and white coats
I'm
used
not
to be
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
and they're not anymore.
Brings me swiftly on to the house is on fire, but everyone is safely out. The pets are safely out, and all wallets and cash have been saved. If you could make one last dash into the house to get something, what would it be?
Oh.
Pink dog I've had all my life and don't sleep without because I'm a baby.
Aww.
My nan got it for me. And she was literally, when my kitchen caught fire a few weeks ago, I went in, grabbed the I grabbed my iPad and my phone, her, and then went downstairs and grabbed my rabbit.
Mine would probably, because my first instinct was like, oh my gosh, what do I take? But my first instinct would probably be to take my slippers. Because if you're living in some shack because you've got no house, your house is burnt down, you're in some horrible house, you've got none of your possessions, it is so nice to have slippers on. No matter where you are, if you put slippers on, you get a bit of comfort. I do anyway. And these slippers, they've been on some adventures with me. I only had them since Christmas, but I've never loved a piece of clothing more, and it's slippers.
People normally say photos, don't they? But now
That's what I was just thinking. Photos, but why would you? Because they're all. Somewhere.
Yeah.
I was
yeah,
thinking that,
yeah.
but I thought,
They're all
like,
saved somewhere now.
no, but I
You can always
couldn't
take
take
another
all of the
picture.
photos that I want to.
Mm.
Right.
And I feel sad that I didn't have all of them.
Right.
And I think as long as I've got my family, we can make more memories and more photos like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd want something that can bring me comfort. Like, if my whole family had died, then I'd grab the photo album, because then it's like something that we all made together is with me. But if they're all with me, fuck it, I'll grab my slippers.
Mm.
I feel like if my pets and my family are out, I don't know what I'd take.
Yeah, that's
like,
what I was thinking.
Like,
we would
I'd
find
take-
loopholes.
The only reason I'd take my keepsake box is because it's got like I like have bits of fur of the animals I've lost, and in my head I think like I'm gonna one day cloning will be a thing and I'll be able to clone those animals.
Yeah, fair.
Which might be a bit weird because I've got my old cat's fur and some of my hamsters in together, so I might end up with some mutated hamster cat
I
thing.
would
That'd be
love
cool,
that.
I don't know. The pictures was the first thing. I'm not sure. I just don't know. I don't think there's anything I'd take.
My final question.
Build up for this last question.
Right, so my third and final, but it's not my third, it's on my 20th and final question. What 3 famous people that are dead would you want at your dinner party? So I would pick Kurt Cobain, because
So
I
you could
fancy
suck him
him.
off.
Yeah. Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse, and Lil Peep.
Okay.
God.
Nice. Anyone else got a top 3 that?
I don't really know many dead celebrities.
It could be any dead. Was the question dead celebrities?
Yeah. Can it be dead people?
Yeah.
Henry VIII, because he knows good food, doesn't
Because
he?
it would be my granddad.
He's a famous person that I think of like straight away when I hear like historical
VIII.
figure, famous person dead. Henry VIII.
Henry
Prince. I'd have Prince. Yeah. Keep this in here.
Or
Prince, if you hear this, wherever you are, I know you're dead, please come to my dinner party. That's it.
I'd have Stephen Hawking.
Any 3 people?
No, not really. Maybe like Princess Diana, like want to know what happened to her, like was she in a conspiracy?
Peter, who would you?
I really don't know whether it'll be people that's famous. I would definitely want my granddad, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. But it's whether someone like Nelson Mandela, how did he do what he did?
Yeah,
Would be
that's a good
interesting.
one.
How did he keep going and keep believing? That would be.
Here's the other. Martin Luther King, that'd be quite interesting.
Come on,
No! The one that got shot, JFK. I'd talk to him. I'd have a chat with
I'd
him.
bring the Beatles back together.
do you have a mentor, Peter? Do you have someone that you kind of look up to kind of
Not really.
questions?
Not
to
any.
kind of say anything to?
You are your own.
You are the top dog.
So I have some coaching from.
There is no higher.
But there's a whole load of people I've worked for that
Me.
probably take different things from them, but not one individual.
Right.
Some people I work for, I would never do it like that. But so I think it's a combination of things. So.
I think that's a very good point. Because not one person is perfect. So you
That's right.
you can't look at one person and think all of their ideologies, that's the one, and opinions and thoughts and stuff, they're never all going to be right and fit in with your morals. So you've got to have a selection of people.
Okay, so just to kind of conclude.
To conclude, no, you did the open. Thank you for listening to These 5 Walls, and a special thank you to Mr. Peter Lewis for joining us and taking time out of your day to support us with our podcast.
And thank you very much.
What?
I wanted to say bye. Have you turned it off?
No?
Bye. Done.
Charlotte.
Bye.
Au revoir, monsieur.